Hello, my lovely bun-buns. Welcome to the magical world of Usagi Tales. I'm Usagi, your favorite chibi bunny Vtuber, here to bring you the juiciest, most captivating stories from the depths of Reddit. Whether it's jaw-dropping drama, heartwarming confessions, or hilarious mishaps, I've got it all right here for you. So grab your favorite snack, get comfy, and let's dive into today's juicy story. Alrighty, the first story is from Off My Chest. Title, My husband's friend needed a place to stay for a week, and he got drunk and urinated on me. My husband's friend needed a place to stay for the week until he could move into his next apartment. When my husband came to me and asked me, I initially said no. This person is also drinks quite a bit. My husband accepted my answer. But one day, the three of us ended up going out to eat. He brought it up, and then I felt really bad, so I allowed him to stay. The first few days were fine, but every single day he stayed, he ended up drinking more and more. I was annoyed, but I ignored it because he's going to leave soon anyways. He was buying his own drinks. But the other night, he went into the fridge and drank my wine and my husband's whiskey. My husband had only half of his one drink. His friend ended up going to bed first before my husband. Around 1:30 a.m., my husband came into the bed with me and went to sleep. Later on, it was almost 3 in the morning. I woke up to my bedroom door opening, and he was just standing there over me. I sleep on the side of the bed closest to that door. I was already weirded out by this. Might I add, I veil my head during the daytime. I wasn't even dressed appropriately. I was already upset that he violated my space when I am sleeping. I was half asleep and I asked him, "What are you doing?" When I said this, my husband woke up, and he began to speak with him in his language until he left. He used the bathroom and went back to his bed. I'm not processing what's going on because I'm still waking up. I was about to turn over to go back to sleep until I realized my bed area was completely soaking wet. I showed my husband and I realized he urinated on me. My husband, rightfully so, was pissed. He brought his friend back into the room and started yelling at him, showing him what he did. His friend was not even processing what my husband was saying to him. The next morning, it was decided that we were going to buy a new mattress and he was going to pay for it. The next day, my husband ripped him a new one. He said that he cannot drink in our house and he cannot return to our house and intoxicated either. I came home later in the day and stayed in my room the whole night. I did not even want to see his face. I feel disgusted, ashamed, and violated. Oh no, this is so gross! This bun has hopped into a real mess this time. Picture this. Someone opens their heart, and more importantly, their home, to a friend of their husband's, only for him to treat it like some sort of frat party gone wrong. Let's start with the fact that OP knew from the get-go it wasn't a good idea. The gut said no, but alas, guilt snuck in. Classic. Now this friend, he's giving off serious raccoon in the trash vibes. At first, everything's going fine. Too fine. Then slowly but surely, his alcohol consumption escalates. Every day, more booze. By the time the whiskey and wine go missing, it's clear the guy isn't just a guest. He's a walking disaster zone. But then, the real kicker happens. Cue the 3 a.m. bedroom invasion. What was that? Some sort of drunken horror show. Because anyone lurking by the bed at that hour better be prepared to get shooed away faster than a bunny from a barking dog. And here comes the absolute worst part. The guy didn't just stumble around. Oh no, he marked the bed like it was his personal litter box. If that isn't the most outrageous, unforgivable mess, I don't know what is. Good on the husband for ripping into this so-called friend after the fact that should have been the end of this guy's stay immediately. Well, let's hop to the comments now. Top comment says, based on your comments that the friend is now staying in his car, I guess OP updated people in the comments, but tell him that he needs to stay off your property. That is low and disgusting, and he has no respect. Has he even offered you an apology? To which OP responds, he's very remorseful, but I don't want to see his face. And I feel like OP is totally valid for that. Well, bun-buns, at what point would you have kicked out a guest acting like this? How much is too much before the guest overstays their welcome? Let me know in the comments. Moving on to the second story. This one is also from Off My Chest. Title, I sent my friend a fake anonymous STD text and she got tested. Found out she had an STD, dumped her cheating boyfriend, and doesn't know it was me who sent the text. First, let me preface this all by admitting that this was fluffed up of me to do. And I'm not proud of my actions, but happy that I went through with it, so I regret nothing. TLDR is the title. I did exactly that. I found one of those online anonymous websites that sends a random text to someone you hooked up with recently to let them know you've been exposed to an STD. I signed up, put her number into the service, and she got a text from an anonymous number saying something like, someone you recently fluffed has an STD and they're worried you've been exposed. They're embarrassed, so they use this service to contact you. Please get tested. Before you raise your pitchforks and demolish me in the comments, please ask yourselves, why did I do this to my friend? The reason is that I am a promiscuous, non-innocent person who has been around the block a few times. She was this innocent, amazing, completely exceptional friend who was very innocent, and everyone in the girl group knew her boyfriend was cheating on her because we are all promiscuous and well-researched. We tried talking to her. Some of our friends even showed her our Instagram DMs, where this girl's boyfriend was basically begging her friends for nudes. We all knew he was cheating. It was obvious from the things she would cry to us about. I finally got tired of her ignoring us and sent her the text as kind of a rude wake-up call to shake some sense into our friend. That while she's busy being completely head over heels in love with this guy, he was out there cheating on her and exposing her to STDs. We know this because she's shown us her DMs. There were at least 3 random girls that came to her about her boyfriend. These girls had screenshots, evidence, and all that. She still chose to believe her lying boyfriend over these girls, and we were all quite frankly worried that this guy was going to give her some incurable STD, and we didn't want our friend heartbroken and sick. So that's my motivation. Call me evil, call me a selfish prick. I will endure the downvotes because it was worth it in the end. After the text was sent, she took a screenshot of it and posted it to the group chat. She freaked out, went and got fully tested for everything, and she had trichomonas. It's one of those curable STDs, so she had to take antibiotics for a week. She stopped having unprotected sex with him for a few weeks after that, tried to make it work, and then ultimately became paranoid, went through his phone and found the shocking evidence of him cheating and dumped him. This happened years ago, and I don't talk to this friend anymore because she moved to Florida. But I still think about her from time to time. I wonder if we really saved her and did her a huge favor. Or was I just a selfish, interfering fluff meddling in affairs that weren't my business? Either way, I'm glad this is off my chest. Oh, bun-buns, this is next level chaos right here. I can't even decide whether to shake their paw or hand them a sassy bunny award. The fact that they went full James Bond with that anonymous STD text, bold, messy, and somehow effective? Now, let's be clear. I'm not saying the fake STD message wasn't shady as heck, but desperate times call for desperate bunnies. They tried everything else to get the friend to see her trifling boyfriend for what he was, a cheating, STD spreading dirtbag. And when the friend wouldn't listen to reason, what's left? A little shock therapy via text. Honestly, the audacity is both scandalous and kind of brilliant. And what happened? The friend freaked out, got tested, found out the guy was literally a walking hazard, and then dumped his sorry tale. Mission accomplished, even if the method was a bit rogue. All jokes aside, though, if OP and this friend were to meet up and rekindle their friendship, she should definitely come clean to the friend about the STD text. And yeah, let's see what the comments have to say. Top comment says, I say you were a good friend. Sometimes it takes something drastic to have someone remove their rose-colored glasses. Getting an STI was the wake-up call your friend needed. Another person said, so you can do this to someone anonymously? Not that I would, but just curious. To which OP replied, yes, there's dozens of websites like this. They do make you provide your valid phone number and valid email address in order to sign up. So if you use it to prank/troll, they ban you. Like I said though, there's dozens of these services. So if you get banned from one, you probably won't miss it. I don't encourage using it to prank though. I think people should respect the spirit of these services and try hard not to ruin the good work done by them. Ultimately, they save lives. Who knows how long my friend had this STD for before she went and got tested. She was with him for 5 years. Wow. Who knows when she was infected, if not for this text. So please respect the services. 5 years is long. Yikes. So, bunnies, what do we think? Was this a heroic intervention, or was OP just meddling with a side of drama? Let me know in the comments. Okay, jumping to the third story. This one is from Am I the Asshole? Title, Am I the asshole for telling my husband's friend that he was selfish and hurting his wife? My 32 female, husband 36 male, has a high school friend 36 male. Let's call him John. John is a typical jock, athletic, good-looking, popular with girls. But I've been around enough to see and hear him being questionable towards women. To the story, we were in a group of friends, and I was introducing them to my new baby, 0 female. Important info. I had a miserable pregnancy. The topic of having kids came up, and John started saying how him and his fiancée, 32 female, would be next. More important information. His fiancée, Janet, is an amazing lady. Kind, smart, gentle. Recently, she has been through a lot. Lost her dad, and her health has been terrible. Not going to say what, but she has a disease that causes headaches, weakness, dizzy spells, fainting, extreme fatigue. She has been more and more emotionally and physically dependent on him. On top of that, she and I come from another country. It means her family and support system are not here. Back to the situation. I asked her if they plan to have kids after the wedding. That is in 2 years. I thought that because it gives her time to recover. He doesn't let her answer and says they agreed they would only get married after having kids. I am surprised for 2 reasons. She always said she wanted kids after marriage and her health is not good. She doesn't say anything but looks sad. I argue that it doesn't seem like a good plan and that a pregnancy now could put her health at risk. He said her fertility window is almost closing and that is now or never. I started getting angry and we discussed. I ended up saying he is selfish and this decision is only based on his wants and needs and is hurting her. Basically, a form of abuse. The room gets quiet and we end up leaving. My husband later agreed with me, but said it was not my place to say anything. Our friends are mixed, saying someone had to say it, but I was too harsh. I feel maybe it was not my place, and I was being a busybody. But after being through a hard pregnancy myself, without my family, I know how hard it is. And my husband is a great supportive guy. Meanwhile, John leaves her alone all the time to party and enjoy life. He is dooming someone that trusts him blindly into a horrible situation. Am I the asshole? Well, there's an update, bun-buns, so we're going to jump right into that. It says, thank you for all the answers. I'm blown away by all the perspectives and was able to see further into the situation. I reached out to Janet and invited her for a coffee. We usually talk with more people around, so this was the first time fully alone. I started by apologizing. I said I should not have said all the things in front of everyone and acted as if she cannot speak for herself. She said she was initially embarrassed, but after further thought, she started questioning if it was really a good idea to have kids now and has scheduled a talk with a specialist. She said John doesn't know and she wants to have more information before talking to him. She also said he was furious afterwards and they had a terrible fight. So you guys were right. It was not the right move, and he did blame her, saying she should have defended their position and that she knew having kids was a must for him. He also said that a woman would only be a real woman if she gave her man biological children. Whoa. She asked him what if she could not, and apparently he never answered. It seems more has happened in the fight, but I decided not to pressure her and let her tell me what she was comfortable with. Lastly, she decided to take some time off and go home to her mom, and I think it's a great idea. The saddest for me was that she was crying, saying someone like her would never get a man like him, and that she was scared of losing him. That it was like she found a golden ticket. I held my tongue because I personally do not think he's a prize. But again, I took the advice and did not press further. I also had a long talk with my husband and we are at odds. He still thinks I'm overreacting and that John poops gold. I am frustrated, but not much I can do for now. Oh wow, buns. My whiskers are twitching with frustration with this one. OP was just trying to have a chill moment introducing the little bun to friends. And then John the jock swoops in with his nonsense. Can we talk about the fact that he's basically treating his fiancée like an incubator on a deadline? Sir, her body, her health, and her timeline should be at the top of the priority list, not his delusional fertility clock. And that whole real woman comment, honey, no. My fur is bristling just thinking about how outdated and selfish this dude is. Janet's health is literally at risk, and all John's worried about is his legacy? Please. He might as well be digging himself a burrow because that attitude is prehistoric. But I also understand why OP felt a little conflicted afterward. Sure, calling someone out in front of a group might not have been the smoothest move. But when someone's pulling some major I'm the boss energy over something as serious as pregnancy, it's hard to stay quiet. And honestly, Janet needed that wake-up call. I'm glad she's starting to question things and take charge of her health. Girl, go do what's best for you. And if John's throwing tantrums over it, maybe that's a sign he's not the golden ticket she thinks he is. Now, bunnies, let's hop into the comments. Top comment says, I think this was before the update, but top comment says, what you said was the truth, but you were a little too harsh. I think you were right to say it because the guy obviously doesn't care how he treats his wife. I also think you should ask his fiancée in private how she feels about her situation. Another person commented, honestly, I think he knows what he's doing. There's a reason he won't legally commit to her until after she has children. And that is not a kind or responsible reason. So I don't think he's going to care about what you said or the potential health outcomes for your friend. It may be satisfying to call him out, but is it going to change his mind? I think you do need to check in on your friend ASAP to make sure she isn't the one bearing the consequences of your fight. Make sure she always has a way to contact you and talk through what's going on in her life. Well, bun-buns, have you ever had to call someone out for being selfish in a relationship, even if it wasn't your place? How would you have handled John's alpha male nonsense? Let me know in the comments. Up next, our fourth story is also from Am I the Asshole? Titled, Am I the asshole for only paying for my own food at a friend's dinner and wasting everyone's time? Last night, my friends and I decided to try a new restaurant that one of my friends, Alex, had been talking about. I wasn't too excited about it because I've never heard of it, so I didn't know what to expect. But I went along to hang out with everyone. When we got there, I looked at the menu and didn't see much that appealed to me. I ended up ordering a small appetizer and milkshake, while everyone else ordered full meals. When the food came, I didn't really like what I had ordered, but I ate it anyway because I was really hungry. Also, the food was very overpriced. The milkshake was about $8, while the fries were $6, so the total of what I ordered was $14. When the bill came, it was pretty high since everyone else had ordered a lot of food. One of my friends said we should split the bill evenly, but I didn't think that was fair since I had only ordered a small appetizer and a drink. I said I would just pay for my own food, while everyone else's meals were much more expensive. Some of my friends were okay with it, but a couple of them, including Alex, got annoyed. They said it was easier to just split the bill evenly and that I was being difficult. I explained that I didn't choose the restaurant, didn't order much, and didn't even like the food, so I didn't think it was fair to pay more than what I owed. We ended up having to stay an extra 15 minutes because I had a card and no cash, and they had to go to the register and have me only pay a certain amount. There was a lot of people there, so it took time. I was told we should have just split because now we wasted time, but I still waited and paid my $14. Now I'm wondering if I was being unreasonable because it was faster to just split the bill. I know that a lot of friend groups split bills, so I'm wondering if I was just selfish. I didn't want to have to pay an extra $10 for no reason. Am I the asshole? Oh, sweet carrots. This dinner drama is too juicy to ignore. So, OP decided to join her friends at a new restaurant, but when the menu didn't tickle her taste buds, she ordered a small appetizer and a milkshake. Meanwhile, everyone else feasted like royalty. No surprise, when that bill came, it was a whole other story. Her friends suggested splitting the bill evenly, but come on. Why should OP pay for their extravagant meals when she barely touched her overpriced fries? Let's talk about audacity. It's frustrating enough to deal with a card at the register, but then to waste time arguing over a fair split? No thanks. OP stood her ground and paid for her own meal, which was totally practical. Not everyone has a bottomless wallet for fancy fries. So her friends need to rethink their order choices next time instead of expecting everyone to foot the bill. Now, let's see what the comments have to say. Top comment says, "Not the asshole. If people want to split a bill like that, it has to be known in advance. I feel like when people know the bill is going to be split evenly, they always order more expensive items and the bill gets excessive quickly. To just lay it on like that afterwards means that anyone who didn't eat enough ends up paying for others' share. Essentially, they wanted to split the bill on your back. If they wanted to make it easier, they should have just organized it in advance. In the future, they'll know better." Another person commented, "If time was being wasted, they could have just paid your bill when splitting the bill and paid your share. It wasn't much, but funny how that never occurred to people." I agree, Buns. They could have gone about it in a different way where maybe one friend decided to cover OP and OP could pay that friend later. Whatever. But anyway, Bun-buns, have you ever been in a situation where you felt pressure to split a bill that didn't reflect what you actually ate? How did you handle it? Let me know in the comments. On to the next story. This one is from Relationship Advice. Title, I, 20 female, discovered something about my friend, 46 male, that grossed me out. What should I do? I, 20 female, recently met C, 46 male, and T, 45 male, on a trail while I was out mountain biking. C made some comment about me and my bike that started a conversation. It was pretty clear they were very experienced mountain bikers because they had really expensive bikes and gear. Now, my bike is a piece of poop because I'm a broke college kid. So I thought it would be funny to show them my crappy gears, brakes, and bald tires. C seemed concerned, and he basically said I was going to end up hurting myself if I didn't get new tires, which was true. He offered to give me some spare tires he had sitting around and gave me his phone number. He also offered to take me riding sometime with him and T. Apparently, C and T take inexperienced mountain bikers, men and women of all ages, out all the time because they like getting new people into the hobby. He seemed really nice and like he genuinely cared about my safety, so I took his phone number. We made arrangements and I picked up the tires from him, and everything went great. We made plans to go riding the next weekend. C said I could ride one of his high-end full suspension bikes for the day, which I was super excited about. At first, things were kind of awkward. C was clearly a little scared of weirding me out as an older man hanging out with a 20-year-old woman, but he was super cool. He almost immediately said that if he ever did anything that made me uncomfortable, to please let him know. Once we started talking about bikes and our various interests, we both started to have a super fun time. I also found out he's super into race cars, or RC cars, and he's building a go-kart from scratch with T. I thought this was all fluffing awesome. C made it clear to me that he saw me as a kid and was going to treat me like I was his daughter. He said he wanted to be clear that he didn't want anything romantic, and he just wanted a friend and mountain biking buddy. He expressed that he thinks older men who try to get with younger women are super creepy. I agreed and was very relieved. We had an awesome day. I had so much fun. He gave me lots of good pointers and was very, very encouraging. Whenever I hit a jump did something cool, he would be cheering behind me. After we went on that ride, he took me to a taco place and paid for my lunch. Again, I'm a broke college kid, so that was awesome. Since then, while driving to go racing together, me and C have had lots of good conversations. We've talked about random life topics like having anxiety, depression, what it's like working in construction, and how poopy our parents are. We also have text conversations about mountain biking or random stuff now and then. I also have a very anxious attachment style. And again, my dad was pretty poopy when I was growing up. He coached me in sports and was an absolute nut job about it, often berating me if I didn't meet his standards. So when C takes me out, gives me pointers, and tells me I'm doing a good job, it feels very nice and healing. Something I love about C is that he likes to talk about deep topics and is very understanding of emotions, concerns, etc. This is very unlike my dad. For all these reasons, I've grown quite attached to him and he's become a father figure to me. He's also accidentally referred to me as his daughter before, which I first found surprising and endearing. In addition to mountain biking tips and tricks, he's given me lots of old protective gear that he's grown out of or gotten new versions of. This has helped me a lot more getting into the sport because I've been able to keep myself a lot safer. At some point on our latest rides, he said something about how he had only been able to talk to me on the trail because basically he saw me as a kid. He said he was having a hard time talking to women he likes from social anxiety like me. And if I was a woman in her 30s, he would have just frozen up and not said anything. I found this comment a little odd. That and a few other remarks that he made that sort of rubbed me the wrong way made me decide to look into him a little more. We follow each other on Instagram, so I decided to look at who he's following. He's following a bunch of OnlyFans models, including some concerningly young ones, like a 19-year-old and a 22-year-old and a 24-year-old, right around there. It just got worse the more I looked. My stomach dropped, and I've been feeling poopy all day now. He's also told me so many times that he thinks it's gross for older men to like younger women, how he thinks of me like a child, that he would never like anyone romantically/sexually who is my age. This is also a very sore spot for me because I also found out a few months ago that my dad, 50 male, has a crush on a 17-year-old girl that I knew from high school. Ew. I found that disgusting and I couldn't stop thinking about it for so long. It feels like the same thing all over again, and it hurts a lot. I also got groomed online from the ages of 12 to 14 by men who were much older than me. So I know how nice men can seem while being truly disgusting on the inside. But also, I don't think he's attracted to me like that. I don't really look like the porn stars and OnlyFans models he follows. And he's truly so fun to be around, and I'm always smiling and laughing when I go on rides with him and T. Should I keep hanging out with him, or should I be concerned? Someone please give me some advice. Thanks for reading. Well, bun-buns, there are some edits and updates, so I'm just going to jump right into those. Edit. I'm realizing a lot of other red flags after reading these comments. I think I'm going to cut off contact with him. Thank you everyone for the help, personal experiences, advice, etc. I really needed it. Update. I've gotten in contact with T's wife to ask her opinion of C given our friendship. I'm currently waiting for her response. I've met her before and she seems nice, and I trust her opinion as a woman. I've pretty much made my decision already, but I want some assurance I'm doing the right thing, because this is really hard. Update 2. I talked to T and his wife about the whole thing and made an update post with screenshots of our text messages. It's in my profile right after this one. And buns, I won't read the text messages, but I will link the comment or the post in the description. So feel free to check it out. Okay, update 3. I sent C a long, mature text explaining why I'm cutting him off and how he made me really comfortable by telling me he sees me like a daughter and would never be into someone my age, and showing me the opposite. His response? Okay, whatever makes you comfortable. What a prick. I almost expected an apology for making me feel this shitty and anxious, or just something. But I think that shows he never actually cared about if I was uncomfortable and if I had ever actually told him I was. He was just going to try to make it seem like my fault for not being able to handle it. There were lots of red flags in his behavior beyond the porn thing. He made a lot of weird comments and jokes that made me uncomfortable too. He said he was like my sugar daddy with the gear he's giving me and the food he's bought me. He talked about going faraway places to ride and spending the night, just the two of us, in his camper. He said that I was the reason he would come back on the weekends when he was going to have to live out of a hotel for work 5 hours away. He would also talk about things he would say to me, quoting, if I was his girlfriend. He keeps saying that I need all this protective equipment so I don't get all banged up and my parents start to think he's hurting me. As he was saying this, he kept saying stuff like, your parents would be mad at me for hurting their precious baby, their precious little girl, etc., indirectly referring to me as those things. Keep in mind that this was all after knowing him for a month. His friend T, who I met on the trail, also ended up telling me that him and his wife both thought C's behavior toward me and how much he was talking to me was super weird. I naively believed him when he said he couldn't possibly be attracted to girls my age, which he said many times, and that's my fault. But the OnlyFans thing was only what made me realize that. Duh, yeah. He could be attracted to me. And then I was like, oh, fluff. Everything he said seems super weird now that I think about it more. Oh, wow, Buns. This situation went from friendly to weird real quick, didn't it? At first, C seemed like he was just being a nice mentor, helping her out with biking tips and gear. But the moment he started with those off-the-wall comments about being like a sugar daddy or calling her precious, it's like, yikes. That's not fatherly. That's uncomfortable. He clearly didn't know how to stick to boundaries, and things just got creepier from there. And don't even get me started on the OnlyFans situation. She thought she was building a genuine friendship, but then, boom, she finds out he's following a bunch of young women online. That's a hard pass. The fact that he spent so much time reassuring her about not being into younger women only to show the exact opposite. That's just gross. The red flags here were popping up left and right. At least she listened to her gut and distanced herself before things got weirder. When someone's action doesn't match their words, that's a sign to hop off that trail fast. And speaking of hopping, let's jump to the comments. Top comment says, I was working with a guy who seemed great. He was older than me by a good 20 years. But we had similar interests, and I was clear that I was not interested in a romantic relationship with anyone. He seemed to understand. We decided to go get a beer and pizza at a place he raved about. He said he would drive us, and I said no way. I don't get into cars with men I'm just getting to know. He was surprised and said it's so sad that women have to go to such great lengths to protect themselves, etc. He blathered for a while about it. Anyway, we met at the restaurant and it was okay, but through dinner, he started giving me the ick. He touched me and say weird things like how he had daughters so I could trust him. I decided that I would not continue to see him in any situation, except work. Eventually, I came to learn that he was not semi-retired, as he told me. He lost his license as a doctor and went to prison for sexually assaulting his female patients while they were under anesthesia. The moral of this story? Listen to your gut. Your brain is processing more information than you know, and it's telling you in whatever way it can to avoid this man. Don't be afraid to hurt his feelings to keep yourself safe. Wow. That is so true, Buns. It's way better to be safe than sorry. I wish I listened to my gut instinct at times, because things would have been different for me. But, anyways, so here's a thought for everyone. When's the last time you had too good to be true moment that made you rethink everything? Let me know your stories in the comments. For the sixth story, this one is from Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for kicking out my friends and making them homeless? A month ago, some friends became homeless due to one of them losing their job. They're in a poly relationship, one guy and two women. He has 3 kids on the spectrum with one of the women. They were all going to stay at a mutual friend's house, but the friend realized she couldn't house 3 autistic kids and 3 adults and 2 cats. The house was already pretty full, so we took in the guy and the girlfriend. I set some boundaries, including no vaping in the house because I have a newborn. The guy broke that rule, setting off the fire alarm. He said the reason was because he farted and it really stank, so he vaped on it to make it smell better. We laughed it off at the time. There's a few other examples, but that's the biggest one. I was trying to look past it because everyone deserves a safe space to sleep, and overall they've been pretty chill. They even made us dinner quite a few times. Here's where everything goes downhill. My husband, infant, and I went on vacation to visit family over a week, and they were pet sitting our 3 cats and dog for us. We talked plenty with them, and they said all was well, so we assumed everything was fine. We just got back today, and dear God, the smell of cat urine was so strong I gagged. There was pee everywhere. It was surrounding the litter boxes, on things left on our kitchen table, in the box we kept our shoes, in corners, in a cardboard box we left out, and on my laptop, which I think ruined it, but I'm too afraid to check. The litter boxes were also super full. We confronted them, and they said they changed it a couple of times when we were gone. Now, let me clarify. These people owned cats and assured us they knew how to take care of them. So we never thought to say, hey, we have 3 cats, change the litter every day. When we moved them out, their house smelled like cat pee, and their clothes when they moved in. And they said it was because one cat refused to use the litter. I think I know why now. They said they couldn't smell the urine, which, if you've ever owned a cat, you know it reeks like nothing else, because they were nose blind to it after living with it. They said they've been staying in their room and just never noticed the peeing outside the litter boxes. We aren't just angry because of the hundreds of dollars worth of things we lost. We feel betrayed and frustrated because we could have just gotten a pet sitter and avoided all this. But we trusted them blindly, and they just failed us badly. We told them they need to get a new living arrangement. And it turns out it's the guy's birthday, and he was high on weed, so he didn't want to go over details tonight. My husband wants them out by Saturday, but I don't know if that's really enough time for them. All right, bun-buns, where do we even start with this one? OP is not the a-hole, and let's just talk about the audacity of strolling back from a vacation, expecting your house to be just as you left it, only to get smacked in the face with the stench of betrayal. It's like they thought, well, we'll just let their home transform into a giant litter box. Who does that? I mean, come on. The whole nose blind excuse is just wild. She gave them a safe space to live, and they treated her home like a shelter for rogue cats with no boundaries. And girl, let's not forget about the vaping story. Seriously, farted and vaped because it smelled bad? What a ridiculous excuse. He's lucky that one flew under the radar. But now with this cat pee situation, no more free passes. They didn't just cross the line, they leaped over it with no shame. Pee-wee. So the top comments are saying, I've had a cat for 20 years. I can't not smell the cat pee if the litter box isn't changed regularly. It's disgusting. So they don't respect your rules. And who vapes to cover up a fart? I bet he was high when he gave that excuse. They don't respect your pets or belongings or even keeping the air clean for your baby. Toss them out and don't let it cloud your conscience. NTA. Another person commented, NTA, but maybe consider calling CPS for those kids because I cannot imagine that they're being adequately cared for if this is how your friends treat your pets. Alrighty, bun-buns. What's the most outrageous excuse you've ever heard for someone breaking a house rule? Let's hear those wild stories in the comments. Hopping to the last story, this one is from Off My Chest. Title, I think my best friend is lusting after my husband. To start, here's some background information. My 29 female best friend, 30 female, has been in my life for 15 years. Things haven't always been perfect, but she means a lot to me, and nothing like this has happened in the past. I've been with my husband, 33 male, for a year, married for 3 months. I was also married for 10 years previously. Nothing like this ever happened with my ex-husband, who wasn't a loyal man. My husband is the most loyal and honest man I've ever known. I 1,000% know that he has never done anything to cause any of this. We discuss these concerns between the two of us. My best friend has been married for 8 years. She has been mostly unhappy in her marriage, but doesn't want to change her life, so she stays. For the sake of this, we'll call my best friend Lily and my husband Adam. So, I'm not really sure when it began, but here's what my husband and I have noticed. First, it started with us 3 going to dinner. This is normal for us. Lily doesn't invite her husband to things as he has never liked me and she's a different person when her husband is around. Not her real self. We go to dinner and Lily is wearing a shirt with her boobs really popping out. Now, I honestly don't really care except that it's completely out of her normal attire, but mainly it caught my attention because during dinner she made a comment to me pointing out that she was really showing off the girls tonight. Now, Lily and I always made sexual jokes or talked about our sex lives in general, so it's been normal within our friendship and never caused any problems before. Lily knows I wouldn't touch her husband with a 10-foot pole even if I was single, and I've told her this with those exact words. Lily started making jokes about watching my husband and I have sex. This is not something we are open to. I would joke in the moment, but then always follow up with, but on a serious note, that isn't even something we're open to. I have never experienced anything from her like this before. Now, she has started bringing up conversations to ask about Adam's dick size and even asked if she could see a dick picture. In the moment, I don't think much of it. When I say no or change the subject, she drops it but has brought it back at other times. Also, Adam's dick size isn't the only one she asks about. Her cousin recently got married, and Lily also asked her cousin about her husband's dick size. The most recent thing that happened was at Lily's son's birthday party. When opening gifts, Lily's son received shirts that are the same style as my husband wears. In front of all the guests, including Lily's husband, Lily said it's like a little Adam, to which Lily's husband responded, "No, it's like me when I was growing up." Then later, during the party, Adam and I are inside while Lily and her friend, we'll call her Rose, that I don't like because Rose is a pick-me girl. So Lily and Rose are outside going down the big slip and slide. Lily's husband and Rose's boyfriend are both at this party. Lily comes inside and asks Adam if he could take a video of them sliding down. Adam filming from the bottom of the slide, not sliding with them. I didn't catch on in time to realize what she asked him to give a "why can't your man film you" response. So Adam holds the camera. This part didn't bother me, but I found out afterwards that he wasn't really looking at them because he found it very uncomfortable, and Rose was like, "Get this and that angle, make sure you're looking at us." I explained to Adam this way when we discussed it. It felt like because you weren't giving Lily and Rose any attention, they had to find a way to get your attention, which he fully agreed. I don't want to end my friendship with Lily. I also don't want her to actually try to cross a boundary with Adam, because then I would definitely end the friendship. If I brought any of this up to Lily, she would definitely play it off like it's all just jokes. She wouldn't see it from my point of view. And edit to say, Rose is not my friend. I avoid her as much as possible. I don't speak to or acknowledge her at all in the situations where she is in the same place as me. Adam does not acknowledge her at all either. Okay, buns, let's hop into this. Well, what in the world is going on here? This whole situation is messier than a rabbit hole after a storm. First, there's that whole just jokes excuse. No, ma'am, this isn't cute or funny anymore. It's downright shady. Asking about Adam's dick size like she's browsing for a new pair of shoes? Seriously, that's crossing a boundary faster than a bunny on caffeine. Now, the little boobs out for dinner move, I mean, flaunt it if you've got it. But don't make a whole show of it while sitting across from your best friend and her husband. It's like she's testing how far she can push this before OP snaps. And let's not forget the whole watching you have sex bit. Girl, that's not normal bestie banter. And can we talk about the sip and slide incident? The whole setup screams, "Look at me," as if Adam wasn't getting the message. So she made sure to put herself front and center. It's like these two, Lily and Rose, are auditioning for some attention they don't deserve. And poor Adam's just trying to survive the ordeal with his eyes respectfully anywhere but on them. At this point, it's clear that Lily is tiptoeing into dangerous territory. She might brush it off as just jokes, but nah, this screams sus. If she doesn't get a firm boundary soon, she's going to keep pushing and pushing until that friendship is burrowed 6 feet under. And speaking of under, let's dig through the comments. Top comment says, "If your husband is uncomfortable, why are you keeping a friend like that? If this was a man who was making you uncomfortable and your husband's friend, would your husband just let him still come around? Get rid of her, she is not your friend, and if Adam were to say, 'Let's have an affair,' she would without no concern for you." Another person said, "Lily and Rose are full of thorns and not your friends. Be careful of any person comfortable being a third wheel in a relationship as they are waiting for an opportunity. Don't make your husband go through this type of harassment." All right, bunnies, here's a question for you guys. Have any of you had a friend cross a line like this? And how did you handle it? Let me know your stories in the comments. And that's the end of today's tales, my lovely bun-buns. I hope you enjoyed these juicy Reddit stories just as much as I did. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment or review to let me know what you think. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok at Usagi_Tales for even more fun content. And hey, if you have any stories you'd like me to read or games you want to see in the background, send them my way. I love hearing from you all. Until next time, stay curious and keep hopping down the rabbit hole of juicy stories. Bye-bye, bun-buns.